on May 27th, 2025 at 6:30. Welcome everybody to Cook School. We are so excited to be here. I know that there's an amazing evening ahead of us, and thank you to everybody here at Cook for welcoming the board. I'll turn it over to Ms. Bugar.
Greetings, everyone. If you could please face or stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's start with our roll call tonight.
Okay, President McIntyre,
Here, good evening.
President Campbell, Vice President Campbell Boytel,
I am here this evening. Thank you.
Treasurer Stewart,
I'm here, thank you.
Secretary Meyer, I am here. Trustee Frazier,
Here.
Trustee Mabry,
Here.
Trustee Maurer.
Here.
We are all here.
All right, great. Thank you. We are also joined tonight by our central office leadership team and obviously many people from the community. Really excited to be here for our wonderful evening at Cook School. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Campbell-Boytel, for our adoption of our agenda.
All right. I bring motion 104 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support.
All right, we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Boytel, supported by Ms. Meyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our consent resolutions.
All right. I bring motion 105 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. 5A, May 13th, 2025, Board of Ed meeting minutes. 5B, overnight and out-of-state field trip requests. Number 1, Hillside Middle School 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. from May 6th through 8th, 2026. 5C, Northville High School instructional material adoption and purchase of U.S. History Interactive Reconstruction to the Present for grades 9 through 12 and DP. Business Management for IB Business Management SL for grades 11 and 12. 5D, new course approval of reading support at Hillside Middle School for grades 6 through 8. 5E, multifunction printers purchased from Toshiba totaling $310,971.70. 5F, 2025 Exmark 96-inch zero-turn lawnmower totaling $34,239. 5G, 2020 sinking fund change order for Hillside Middle School walk-in freezer and storage space totaling $119,877. 5H, AUK construction recommended change orders for Meads Mill Middle School totaling $33,816 and Ammerman School totaling $105,836. 5I, 2025 Northville High School and Transportation Stormwater Resolution accepting long-term maintenance of stormwater systems permits. 5J, 2025-26 Wayne Westland Cooperative Agreement. 5K, 2025-26 Wayne Westland Cooperative Agreement. Action item is, I need clarification. Are those? Okay, that's a duplicate. Please make a correction then, and we'll remove K, and we'll make the next one K. 5K, special call meeting of the Board of Ed on June 17th, 2025 at 8 p.m.
Support.
All right, we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel and supported by Ms. Stewart, Treasurer Stewart. Just a reminder that these consent resolution items are basically routine in nature. They are items that we have had previous conversations about, or field trip requests, things that are just typical in nature, routine in nature. And so we will go ahead with a vote.
I just really
Oh, yeah.
quickly wanted to highlight the reading support course that already exists at Meads. We're adding it to Hillside, and I just wanted to highlight the teacher Tanya Trailer, who's done so much work in getting that to, having that course come about at Meads, and then bringing it forward to Hillside. Very excited about that. Obviously this represents a lot of work, so don't mean to not downplay the other things. I just also wanted to highlight the agreement that we have with Wayne Westland, that we have those vocational programs. I just love that we try to have a variety of opportunities for our students to pursue different interests. And we have those vocational ones, we have virtual offerings. So I'm just glad that we can cooperate with other school districts to bring the best for our Northville Public School students.
Yeah, thank you. Great things to highlight. All good things. All right. Good to move forward with the vote. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, Dr. Weber, we have our stock market games recognition.
Right on. So let's, I want to talk to Noam, Henry, and Luke. You out there? And if we could come up to the mock podium there, I have some big questions. Well, then Luke and Henry are going to dance a little bit. It'll be good. It's a good experience for these guys, titans of industry.
Can I talk a little bit about stock market games?
Sure.
Please do. We'd love to hear about it.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Devin Caudill, the principal at Ammerman, and I am actually excited for, I think this is perhaps the third year in a row that I've got to celebrate our stock market game kids for their accomplishments. So for anybody that doesn't know what stock market games is they give a bunch of kids an imaginary $100,000 in the fall. And then for the next several months, they have to figure out how to keep that $100,000. And I believe they were in first place for almost the entire competition until like the very last minute, these tariffs came around and kind of messed with their how they were planning things out. But we are super excited that they ended up in second place in the entire region. And I think the other thing to note is that these fifth graders are above kids in high school, even though they are in the elementary division and they're in the secondary division. They still ended up with more money at the end of this entire stock market games than kids that are, so much older than them, sometimes 10 years older than them. The other thing, while I'm kind of dawdling for time here, is that I want to highlight is Mrs. Mandy Tiba, who is the person who does stock market games. And she does it simply because she loves it. So there was an opportunity for us to actually pay her several years ago through some COVID funds, and she turned that down because, in her words, getting paid for it would just take all the fun out of it. And so they meet weekly via Zoom. Their teams just meet together too. They talk outside of stock market games. She coaches them along. And it's super exciting for these kids that this is happening. So I will, now that Noam arrived, right on time, I will have him and Luke come on up. And you guys can talk a little bit about what you did. Now you can ask your questions. Sorry, Dr. Weber.
That's all right.
That was my stalling technique. Come on, stop over here, guys. Come back. Right over here. All right, what you got?
I'm just curious, what was one of your biggest surprises of the whole piece as you watched it?
Do you mean like with the market or how we
Yeah, just the
invested?
entire approach to it. Like, I'm sure
So-
you had a strategy going into
Yeah, our
it.
strategy in the beginning was kind of picking the big stocks, and then when we saw the market dip, we really invested a lot in gold and some mutual funds.
Oh,
Was there a particular stock that performed really, really well?
Well, one time I just found this penny stock, and it was around $3 at the time, and I bought it for like the day, and it went up like 50% that one day, and we made like $5,000 off it.
Oh, I have a question. Oh, another question? So would you characterize your portfolio as an aggressive portfolio, or did you take more balanced approach?
We definitely started more aggressive, and then throughout the year, we kind of went more conservative towards the end.
Okay. And were you in international stocks as well as U.S. stocks?
We were mostly just U.S.
Okay.
What's your hot tip? Any hot tips, guys?
Okay. How are you gonna get us all into early retirement? What is it?
I know.
Help me.
Invest in a lot of stocks, not just like put your money in like a few, like spread your money out within like a lot of stocks.
Nice.
I'm totally curious to know if you are inspired in going into finance. And I'm also curious to know if you've taken any of your own real money. Now, I don't know if you have a job or if you get allowance or anything. I know you're just fifth grade. But if you would be inspired to start putting some of your own money into the stock
Yeah,
market.
I have a lot of my money in stocks right now, and yeah, I definitely want to be a financial advisor when I grow up.
Yeah, I don't have any money in stocks right now, but I do want to start to have.
Awesome.
What
All right,
about-
we have some,
oh,
any other?
yeah, I just wanted to ask, what about the aspect of working together? How did you get it so that you could work together to decide what you bought or when to sell? Did that play any factor in terms of how it went?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like in the meetings, we had to like explain like what to buy and make sure everybody was on board with it and just confirm with everybody.
And we just like do a quick Google search on some good stocks to buy, and then we'd look at the charts and see if we all liked it, and we'd like write down what we wanted to sell, what we wanted to buy, and how much we had to sell and buy.
So what were the stocks that were most impacted by the tariffs or the threats of tariffs?
Definitely like Apple, Microsoft, Meta,
Okay.
Amazon, all those big tech companies definitely took a big dip, and they're starting to come back right now though.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Congratulations. Really well done.
And I forgot to, I also wanted to thank Mrs. B, their fifth grade teacher, for just supporting them through this process. All of them being in her class, it really worked out well for them to work together. So thanks, Mrs. B.
Yay. Yay.
Okay, great.
All right.
Very
Want me to go
impressive.
Move along to communication?
Yeah, let's move along to
Okay,
communications.
Communications, we have received emails at npsboe@northvilleschools.org, and we have also received the May Wayne Risa board highlights.
Awesome. Thank you. I just wanted to add about our communications and our emails that we always receive emails to our NPSBOE at Northville Schools email address. We also sometimes receive some phone calls or sometimes voicemail messages, and also for public comment in our meeting, that the board regularly reads each email and listens to the messages left on our voicemails. The Board of Education functions as one voice, so we typically don't engage in a back and forth conversation in response to these sorts of public comments. This can feel awkward to both the public as well as to us board members, as we are all focused on what's best for kids, and we do want to hear and understand the varied perspectives of people in our community regarding different topics facing the board. Your perspectives help guide the board in its work, along with the other conversations that board members have in our various board liaison roles and in our work across the community. There are occasional situations that come up that the board needs to take an action on an item, such as a bus route or other technical kind of thing, and the board then brings in the appropriate central office staff person through Dr. Weber to help solve for that problem. We do ask that you continue to send us emails. We receive them each week, including right up to the board meetings, depending on when these emails are received to our email address. So just a quick note about public comment in our communications. All right, thank you for that. And now I'm so excited for this Cook School presentation. It's always such an amazing evening, and I will hand it over to you, Mrs. Bugar.
Good evening, and thank you again for coming. We are so excited to present at the board meeting tonight. It is with the support of many retirees from Northville Public Schools, as well as current employees, and really people that helped create Northville's history. So I want to extend a welcome to all of those who joined us this evening. And not only from myself, from Cook staff, from the board, but also from Beth Santer, who was not able to be here this evening because she is at a conference advocating for our students as well. So Erin Nadeau, my assistant principal, will kick off our celebration.
Okay, let me make sure I can get the technology here. All right, so welcome everyone. Tonight we're going to start off with a quote from Ralph Braun. He's the co-founder of Braun Ability, which is a vehicle accessibility company that creates vehicles and adapts them for individuals with physical impairments. So I'll read it. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can do. So tonight we celebrate. Yeah. We celebrate students and we honor the past 50 years of progress made toward ensuring that students with disabilities receive the supports and services that they deserve, really what they're entitled to. So what exactly is turning 50, you might ask? IDEA. So IDEA stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act. It was created in 1975, 50 years ago. The IDEA tenets critically focus on students with disabilities are entitled to a free, appropriate public education. We call it FAPE. Students are not denied access to their education, and with the appropriate programs, supplementary aids, and services, students access their education to the fullest extent possible. Through IDEA, students who qualify for special education receive legally binding services through an individualized education plan. We call it an IEP. IDEA ensures that adequate funding is funneled to schools to support student programming. Early intervention is an evidence-based system for supporting at-risk students by providing meaningful educational benefit to children across any domain that they might struggle in. So interventions such as in academics, language acquisition, functional developmental skills, social emotional regulation, just for example. IDEA ensures that transition plans are in place for all students that are aging in the IEP process. In this case, in Michigan, that begins at age 16. And that's when IEPs really shift a critical focus to learning pre-vocational skills, learning the acquisition of functional life skills, practicing those vocational skills, planning for life after high school, and engaging in community resources that support managing responsibilities as an adult. IDEA protects and promotes the imperative involvement of parents, representing and advocating for the rights of their child with a disability. So, for example, procedural safeguards outline the rights of students and parents in the special education process. IDEA establishes and promotes heavily on the basis of foundational intervention through evidence-based practices. So ensuring that students are really receiving tailored interventions prescribed to their specific need rather than a carte blanche approach. And then IDEA supports the implementation of the least restrictive environment, another jargon we call LRE. A great deal of what we'll discuss tonight will speak to the remarkable advances in the education system, what we've made in providing access to instruction through the least restrictive path for students with disabilities. So in regard of least restrictive environment, one size does not fit all. It is imperative that individuals with disabilities receive instruction in their least restrictive environment. Through an IEP, a student is provided meaningful access to their instruction via the appropriate programs, supplementary aids, and services. This is a guaranteed opportunity for the child to participate within the public education system for free. So little 101 there. Next up, I'm going to introduce you to Danielle Richards. She's our department chair for the dual diagnosis program here at Cook School.
Okay, make sure I can do the clicker. Perfect. So before 1975, there were no legal safeguards for free and appropriate public education. Many children with disabilities were institutionalized, didn't attend school, or struggled in school without the individualized program they needed because there was no mandate to educate them. Students with disabilities that were enrolled were excluded from their non-disabled peers, placed in segregated, non-inclusive settings with inadequate supports. So this is going to be a little fun. Just to put things in perspective, let's take a minute to throw back what was going on back in 1975. Well, it was the end of the Vietnam War. President Ford narrowly escaped 2 assassination attempts. The Ford F-150 was introduced. Wheel of Fortune and Saturday Night Live premiered on television. Jaws was the top grossing movie. Disney Springs opened. The first digital camera was invented. Frank Robinson became the first African-American MLB manager. And the Kool-Aid Man first appeared, making this the year of his 50th birthday as well. The Often Forgotten is a video produced by Northville Public Schools in 1979, which traces the history of deinstitutionalization. The video opens with scenes explaining what life was like in the residential institutions, framing it from the perspective of a parent who was told that the best thing for their child was to leave their home and family, yet highlighting the negative, non-stimulating, barren life for the individuals who live there. Dr. Razmirsky, NPS, and many individuals here this evening helped transition 750 students into county programs in public schools known as the Annex, Brainerd, Berger, the Infirmary Program, Parkway, and Taft, creating center programs which became Cook today. Our students are part of the community because of IDEA and the work which began as a result of it. This journey is our history and a point of pride for all of us. We're gonna talk about some milestones next for IDEA. It began as the Education for All Handicapped Children Act in 1975, signed by President Gerald Ford, ensuring free and appropriate public education for children with disabilities. This law required all states that accepted money from the federal government were required to provide access to education for children with disabilities, in addition to providing them with 1 free meal per day. In 1986, President Reagan signed the Handicapped Children's Protection Act, a law that gave parents of children with disabilities more say in the development of their child's individual education plan, or IEP. The Education for All Handicapped Children's Act became the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act in 1990. President Clinton reauthorized IDEA with several key amendments that emphasized providing all students, including early intervention for infants and toddlers with disabilities, with access to the same curriculum. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 2004, which amended IDEA, called for early intervention for students, greater accountability, and improve educational outcomes, and raise the standards for instructors who teach special education classes. Today, celebrating 50 years, IDEA continues to support millions of children nationwide in achieving developmental milestones and accessing education. I'm going to hand the mic back to Ms. Bugar, who's going to introduce some really cool people.
Again, I'd like to give a nod to the NPS employees and retirees that could stand and be acknowledged. Our retirees are holding the props that they brought themselves, as well as articles from the past and social media from today, kind of hearkening to where we came from and where we're going. So each one of them had the opportunity to speak and share a little bit about themselves so that you can get to know them as well. Also, if you do not want to speak, that's fine as well. Just let me know as I come around. Dr. Mercy, we mind if we start with you?
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's going to be hard to limit this for me in 2 sentences. I can guarantee that. But as I was thinking about this and talking with Jennifer earlier, what would be the most salient points to share? And then there's a rich treasure trove of concepts and ideas from the history within Northville. But I vividly remember being asked to come in 1976 with then Donna Sewry from Wayne County RISA, Bob Shaw, Ray Tellman, some folks that many folks know who joined our team, which was wonderful, and asked me to consider being the director of the program in Northville. And of course, it was an avalanche of what does all that mean? Well, we had at that time just over 1,100 students from Plymouth Center for Human Development and Northville Residential Psychiatric. No other district in Wayne County raised their hand at the board meeting at the county to take over the program. And that's understandably why. But the point of pride I want to share is that the board meetings, the ones that I attended with board members to go over and over again in public discussions, why should we do this? How is this going to help us? Is this going to harm us? Who are these students, et cetera? There were hours devoted to that time. I still vividly remember the day the vote was, the evening the vote was, and the board took it over. And from that point on, not only did we have to find 5 school buildings that we rented from Garden City, Dearborn Heights, and Livonia, because there wasn't enough space inside the district. At one point in time, we had more school buses than the K-12 did. And at one time, we exceeded the number of full-time employees with all the wonderful teachers, instructional aides, OTs, PTs, speech and language psychologists we were fortunate enough to bring together. And another little rose of a tidbit that this group deserves a great praise for, because we literally just finished sending these out to Florida and New York 4 months ago. There was no curriculum. Our staff rallied together and developed the only program curriculum that was in existence, is still preferred in those 2 states by those districts who recognize what the value of that was. So talk about launching something that was a major issue. So I am very proud of all of the folks who are here, all the folks who have been connected with the program. I am enormously proud of Northville for standing tall, even those doubting Thomases, so to speak, who said, no, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. I can share with you one of my last times as superintendent at a function at the high school, new high school. A parent couple came up to me and said, you know what my son said to us at graduation? He had been hounding us to get Mustang convertible for graduation, which, I mean, who wouldn't want? But then he said, I had the chance to meet the students who are here from the special ed program at the high school. And I met this one young man who was 23 years old, who wasn't sure he knew where his parents were or who. He wasn't sure about what he was going to be able to do, live in a group home, maybe work somewhere. But he said he was happy as any kid you'd ever want to see every day. He said, because of that, I don't want that car. I want to go out and help people with the money that you would give me for buying that car. It's those nuggets of memory for me are just outstanding to be able to share back with you. And if you have a chance to see The Often Forgotten, which was really a stroke of good luck in debate and discussion amongst us, because to get the helicopter to fly and the gentleman with the camera hanging over the edge, I can tell you that the board was saying, and how much is our insurance? But there are some vignettes in there that are just phenomenal when you think of how long from World War I Plymouth Senate was there and what it did at that period of time and what it turned out to be, and then how all the law changed to make this program successful. When that law passed in '76 to implement, there were 12 institutional settings in the state of Michigan, and we were next to the largest in the state. So I am deeply proud and grateful to have this opportunity to have been part of Northville Public Schools. When I finished a couple years ago my 55th year in education, 35 of them were in Northville, and I'm very honored to have that situation and experience. So thank you.
Follow that. Hi, I started at Benet Hall, and I worked for the district for 41 and a half years. Oh, my name, Vicki Honeycutt. Sorry. I worked in many aspects of the district. I also worked in the paraeducator union for 39 and a half years, and I retired as the president of the union. And my favorite thing was the school talent shows that we used to have at the various schools that we had.
Hi, I'm Frances Garcia. Fact is that I worked here for 28 and a half years. I started when we had two schools, which was Old Village and Bryant back then. And one of the details was actually fun. I don't remember if Old Village remembers, but I went and subbed for Old Village one day. Actually, we were going to the farm, and I was helping load the kids on the bus, and there was one student that was left by the fence, and there was a cow there. And everybody says, run, run. I said, well, why, And I see this cow running, so I picked up the kid and started running towards the bus. The cow is chasing after us. And before you know it, when I jumped on the bus with the student, the cow was right there at the door. So those are the facts and details, and the 28 and a half years that I've been working here, which I do remember, which now Old Village and Bryan is now one, is Cook School. And I have enjoyed all those years that I worked here with student and staff, and I will miss them too, because I recently just retired too.
I'm Susan Olson, and I was one of the original 11 teachers of the speech and language impaired, or TSLIs, which don't exist anymore. I was hired in 1975, and I've served here for 43 years. And I was tasked, again, with establishing this program. And again, like Dr. Rozmirski said, we had nothing. We created our own evaluations, our curriculum, and our communication systems. And developing individualized paper and pencil communication boards using typewritten words and hand-drawn pictures, since there was no symbol system to use. There was no a system in place that was standardized across America. And my dear colleague Janice Nagel, who was started with us in 1988, serving 38 years. Developed her own symbol system, since there was none. And so she developed, along with her, the picture communication system, along with fellow TSLIs working at Wayne County RESA. I had the privilege of working with John Eulenberg, from the Artificial Language Laboratory in Michigan State University, who was contracted from Northville Public Schools to develop voice synthesizers for our students. So John Smallwood, a computer scientist from MSU, along with a refrigerator-sized computer, showed up at Moraine School. And therefore, he worked in the Communication Enhancement Resource Center at Moraine School, or otherwise known as CERC. And he physically developed and hand-wired some of the first devices in the state, giving many of our students an actual voice before any others in the nation. John and a student named Janie Abler developed a patented auditory scanning input system for voice output devices, which is used today. Her custom device was based on my handmade eye gaze board. And this gave Janie the ability to speak the invocation at the National Council on Exceptional Children Convention in Detroit in 1983.
Wow.
Hi, my name is Don Matheson, and I was hired in 1975 in December. Worked 42 years with this great program, and I remember many things, the talent show Vicki mentioned, but I remember Elizabeth Adams, the gym teacher. We had her Special Olympics out the back of the school. I remember Leon Doolin's haunted houses that everyone enjoyed. And then I especially remember Art Lennox's very outrageously entertaining theatrical productions. Thank you.
That's my husband, Don, here. I'm Beverly Matheson. I worked at Brainerd School for 2 years as a school nurse. I was one of 5 nurses in the district at the time. I interviewed for my job with Clark Kelly on our wedding day.
Oh.
Yes. And 2 years later, when my time was over, 2 weeks later, I gave birth to our first child. I learned so much from the students. There were maybe 110 students at Brainerd, and only 1 or 2 were verbal. But I learned so much from them, the nonverbal ones, that it did me good all through my nursing career, especially at the end when I became a special ed nurse, or not special ed, excuse me, a hospice nurse for the last 29 years. I was able to read the signs of what was going on with my patients without them speaking to me. So that I am grateful to those students.
Hi, I'm Lynn Thompson. I also was hired in 75, and I worked here for 38 years. And I wore many hats, serviced as a teacher, several populations. And some of the most memorable things were the friendships and the love that we all had together. And I think some of the things I'm most proud of were several of my paraprofessionals ultimately became teachers. And gosh, we just had so much fun. And the students were wonderful. And the students at the high school, I was lucky to be there for 4 years, and I had the same experience Leonard spoke of. They kind of found refuge down in my classroom, and they helped out with the kids, and some of them did go into special ed. So thank you, especially to Leonard. I'd like to say he was such a beacon for all of us, and I love all you guys.
My name is Karen Shawman, and I started working in this program in 1996. I'm an occupational therapist, and I came here with 17 years of experience working in rehab hospitals, psych hospitals, state psych hospitals, University of Pennsylvania Hospital, a lot of different settings. But I will say that working here, as I did for the last 20 years of my career, I used every skill I learned at any other place at all. I mean, I was never bored by what our students would present to us. It required many skills. And one of my, I think my fondest memories is when I started in the program, we were at Bryan School in Livonia, and we moved to this building in 2000, and we had gotten a grant, and we built a sensory room for the building, for the school, and we started incorporating a lot more sensory strategies for our students, and that's something I'm very proud of.
My name is Cindy Warren. I started in December 1975. I was a teacher in classroom. I worked in Wayne Westland in the VOC program, bringing our kids from Northville there for a couple years, and also worked in behavior management.
You don't have to clap for me. My name is Kathy Lang. I'm all told almost 50 years between this district and Livonia in schools. But now I love it so much, I sub here a couple days a week.
I'm Chris Schaefer, and I had 31 years in with the district, and I worked with the dual diagnose program.
I'm Rhonda Hargrave. I started here in 75 when I was 18, right out of high school. And so I grew up here. I worked for 33 years and have wonderful friends and don't take anything for granted anymore.
I'm Carrie Casebeer, and I worked in this program from Old Village to Cook for 22 years as a paraeducator, and then grew up as a teacher with all of these people being my leaders. And I've learned that kindness and just taking that moment with a student is going to last that lifetime for them.
Hello, my name is Kim Kraus. I worked 18 and a half years here. I retired a couple of years ago, and I did not want to come to special ed. I had friends of mine telling me that I would be really good at this program, and I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I just can't. I'd be crying every day. I can't do this. And finally talked me into doing it. I came in and I did leave crying, but because I had so much fun. I got so many hugs from the kids. It was fantastic. They taught me more than I could ever teach them. If I was having a bad day, get them off the bus in the morning and say good morning to them and see them rock and roll in their chairs, or the smile or the hug. It made it all better. I see them out in the community now, and they come running to me. Hey, Miss Kim, or the parents will say, I can't tell you how much you meant to my child. That does my heart wonders.
My name's Christine Lalinski, and I've worked with the district for 31 years. Had one stint with the school district and left, and then had the fortune to be hired back. Thank you, Dr. Wismierski, for hiring me the first time. I've had an amazing career. I've worked in many different aspects, dual diagnosed teacher, teacher of the severely multiply impaired, adapted phys ed teacher. I've got to work in multiple buildings, but what I treasure most is the colleagues that I got to work with, to learn from, and be supported by. And of course, the wonderful children and families we got to work with also.
Well, I'm the outrageous Art Lennox that Don referred to. So I taught 38 years here in Northville, and I retired for about a month. I got called back for a short-term stint, so I spent another 10 years here. But I started out at Northville Psychiatric Hospital with the kids, the young adults, and I pretty much stayed with that population through most of my career. And towards the end of my career, I had the opportunity to start our first satellite program at Northville High School. And it still continues today, and we've expanded to the middle school, and I don't know where else. I don't know. It's been quite a program. For every bad day here I've had in Northville with the kids or something, I had 10 good days with my staff, all the staff. because we all rallied together. We pulled together as a team. It was a great team. And it still goes well today, I understand. So, but I want to thank you again, Dr. Smirsky, for your leadership and all my friends and colleagues. And there we are.
And pass it on to your wife. My name is Mary Lennox, and I was a parapro here for 12 years. And then I went on to be a teacher for autism in Livonia Public Schools. But my 12 years here, I learned so much about people. I learned so much about kids. We didn't know what we were doing. But we learned from each other, and we met a lot. We talked a lot about what we should do and how we should help these kids. I want to thank Cindy Warren because her and I worked in behavior management, so they always called us to solve their problems, but that didn't always work out. But we worked together to do that. I also want to thank Dr. Wisniewski because he was our leader, along with Viola Doherty and Joe Blake and all the many people that led us. He was there all the time, especially when we had some major behavior problems. And I remember one time that he said, "Yep, I'm right behind you," and he got into the act. So it was great having that support. And all these people supported us, and we supported you guys. And I'm very blessed to be part of Northville for 12 years. Thank you.
My name's Tom Wozniak, and late 1960s, I was in high school, and I worked as a volunteer at the Dearborn ARC. And at that time, I said, I'm going to be a special ed teacher. Well, life takes different paths. I spent 18 years as an engineer for AT&T, and when I left, I was fortunate enough to be hired. I was the last certified staff hired at Bryant Center in '99. I worked almost 23 years, and again, echo what Art and others have said. The staff was always the amazing part. That of course the kids were, but the staff. I've never worked anywhere where a more dedicated staff.
I'm Todd Jacobs. I was one of the first new hires after the first year came in. I came here in '95. I was coming from Florida. And of course, people were wondering, who's this Florida guy coming in? And I made the mistake of wearing a purple suit. And if anybody knows Lonnie Pike, I heard about it every year. So finally, one year I said, Lonnie, I outgrew that suit a long time ago, all right? So it was amazing, though. Of course, I was nervous coming in. The people here, these guys, opened their arms and made me part of their family right away. And so many good experiences. And Art's spot on. For every bad day, you had 10 good days, right? And we all worked together. It wasn't your job, my job. It was our job. And, you know, so many memories. And, you know, one thing was the relationship with the kids and the families, really, because they become a part of you. And I always think about a student I had named Jarrell. And Jarrell was a good kid. He had gotten sick. So I called his mom up, and I'm like, he loves school. How's he doing? She said, Mr. Todd, I had to put a picture of you on the ceiling so we could see you. But that's what makes this school special. And thank you for the celebration. And Dr. Wisniewski, thank you for all you did.
Good evening. My name is Martha Bondi, and I worked in Northville School District for 16 years. I started out substituting in the district, whether it was in special ed, which my degree was in, or in general ed. And I will tell you, the special needs population stole my heart. It made me impatient to work with the regular general education students. And why was that? Because the students in the special needs population have such determination, and they work so hard, and they are so brave that you didn't see that from so many kids in your general population. Mind you, I have 4 daughters myself, but so I mean, I do understand. However, just what I would see with these students. And one of the strongest things I feel that is representative of our whole program is family. There are many families. We're family as a classroom, and all the staff is a family. The kids in your classroom are a family. Believe it or not, special needs children also know how to put on the school behavior, especially if you're a sub. And not just the general population. It's hilarious to discover the differences in the personalities. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed being part of the PTA process with the families, because while the kids became family with us here at school, it was wonderful to see them interact with their biological or foster families that they lived with, and to see them grow and the joy, and to have that intimacy and sharing with them. It can't be matched. I've been very privileged to work here.
Thank you. We have so much more to share with you. So next, I would like to introduce Katie Schneider, who will tell you a little bit more about what's happening now.
Okay, so we're going to do some then and now comparisons with pictures. So we're going to kick it off with transportation, which didn't start until 1970 to 1975, which now is much safer and more reliable. Now we have trained staff or an aide on every bus and individual nurses for students whose IEP require that. Here at Cook, we have 9 home districts that bus to Cook daily, with over 35 buses and private transportations that show up each morning. Our classrooms provide robust learning environments with many flexible seating options that take into account each individual student's needs. So next up, I have Candace.
Thank you. So next up, I'll talk about adaptive seating. So adaptive seating has really come a long way in the last 50 years. If you just look through the hallways at Cook, you will see the many options for positioning and mobility that we have available to meet our students' needs. Some students need custom chairs that are molded to their body shape, or other options outside of a standard desk to properly support them. Our physical therapists work hard to get our students the best seating for them, along with wheelchair vendors who they schedule to come into our building and custom fit our students. The advancements in seating options over the last 50 years have allowed our students to be comfortable and supported so they can focus on learning. Similar to seating, we have come a long way with the options for feeding equipment. I'm going to show you a short clip from the often forgotten video.
Through the behavior. And the first step that you might want them to learn independently is to pick a spoon up. And once they've got that down, then you might want them to be able to pick the spoon up from the plate with food on it to their mouth. And you'd break the skill down so that you taught each part of the behavior rather than expecting them to just be able to feed themselves appropriately.
I like what she says at the beginning of the video because it's similar to how we approach teaching new skills today. What has changed in the last 50 years is how many options we have to adapt feeding to our students' needs. As you see in the picture to the right, we have a Cook student using a scoop dish, which is just one of many options. It has an edge that is sloped up to help with the scooping motion. He is also using a spoon with a built-up handle to make it easier to grip, and it's also curved towards him, so it requires less fine motor control. The cup is called a nosy cup, which has a cutout so it doesn't bump into their nose if someone is unable to lift their head while drinking. All of these advancements to adaptive equipment have helped our students feed themselves as independently as possible. Now I'd like to introduce Leah Gargaro.
In this picture, you'll see students kind of hanging out on a blacktop. We're lucky at Cook to have access to a fully adapted playground with equipment that provides fun and enrichment for all ages and abilities. Additionally, the sidewalk edges are ramped, so all individuals can access playground equipment. Some doors at Cook are accessible, which gives students the ability to independently navigate their environment. I'm going to show a quick clip from the Often Forgotten of a student who's communicating using an alphabet board. As was highlighted earlier, there was no standardized symbol set, so this student only had access to letters.
When you want to say something and nobody will listen. Well, don't agree with me. You answer. It bugs you. Nobody? Nobody understands. A lot of people don't understand you. And you want to talk to them, but you have that difficulty. Okay. Relax. That? Some. Some. Time. Sometimes. They won't. They won't listen. Sometimes they won't listen. All right. Them or they? They do not have time? They do not have time. They don't have time to listen to you because it takes so long. And you find that frustrating.
Now we have access to a variety of communication devices with robust vocabulary that are individualized to each student's needs. Through the Wayne Assistive Technology Team, which houses our county's assistive technology lending library, we're able to gain access to communication systems that allow our students to communicate autonomously. In the picture on the left, a student is using an iPad programmed with communication software to reject or refuse an activity. And in the last picture, a student uses an eye gaze device to greet people at the school store where he works. And next, I'm introducing Shannon Puchalski.
Okay. We use ELA standards from our Common Core Essential Elements, which are high standards for all students. I started here right out of college 17 years ago, and I have seen the academics change. Before, it wasn't as robust, focusing lots on social and functional skills, and we had advanced in our academic skills. We had grade level bands, and now we have actual individual grade level standards. Here we adapt everything. We're always adapting standards and our curriculum. Like we're very talented for doing that. The current curriculum we use today here at Cook is Readtopia, Readtopia Go, Currents, and ULS. All right, up next is Stephanie Crane.
Good evening. So I'm going to talk a little bit about math and science and what we do special here at Cook. Like Shannon just said, we break it down into these Common Core, state standards, but essential elements. So it's kind of like building blocks to each skill, what the student needs to be successful overall in that standard, bits and pieces. It's actually specially designed for cognitively impaired students, but not recently, as late as the early 2000s. So we're a bit behind in that area. But like she said too, it's not one size fits all. We really want to break it down to each student's individual level. Even within the classroom, you'll see different things going on within each math activity. There may be 3 different levels going on at one time, and our paraprofessionals are great with assisting with that. You also see in math quite a bit of the communication system integrated. You can see a couple of the students up there using their iPads. In any classroom, you see kids talking through their learning. They're making guesses, mistakes, giving us their correct responses, asking questions if they don't understand it. And for our students who are not yet there verbally, this gives them the same talk through aspect to their learning, which is so important. You can also see one of our older post-secondary students. She's actually paying, looks like maybe Walmart or Kroger or something, paying for something she's buying for her classroom. And these skills are so important. Going to the store, just interacting with employees appropriately, asking for help, being able to pay for things that you want or need are really life-changing skills for our kids. So we try to integrate those in whenever we can. Science, again, it's aligned with those same standards and broken down. Here, you might see what's going on in any typical elementary school classroom. They're investigating the life cycle of a plant, parts of a plant. Here we have a pumpkin, and then they're doing an experiment where we have a chemical reaction, actually, that's pumpkin themed. So the way we do things differently here is we try to incorporate a lot of hands-on learning, a lot of robust language, again, their communication system, but also incorporate as many senses as we can, a lot of different learning styles. We know each of our students learns so differently, and we want to give them a way to respond and a way to obtain and experience those things in different ways because they all look so different, learn so differently. I'm going to now introduce Tim Schroeder, your social worker.
Thank you, Stephanie. We are going to start. If you could click on that picture for just a quick short video.
There's no reason why people have to stay in institutions when you can provide an environment for them within the larger community that allows them to be loved and to be cared for on a very individual kind of a basis. There's no reason to keep people in institutions where they can't receive either of those things, irrespective of how intelligent they are or they are not.
All right, graduation is truly one of my favorite events each year. On June 5th at 12 p.m., we'll come together to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of our graduates. Somewhat of a shameless plug, but we'd love to see all of you there if you're able to make it. As shared in the video clip, Cook continues to provide a supportive, nurturing environment that's tailored to each student's individual needs. Some students are with us briefly, while others remain part of our community for longer. But no matter the length of time here, we remain committed to helping each one grow by focusing on their strengths and supporting them in what they do best. Next, next I'd like to share a few highlights regarding staffing, program enhancements, and some recent NEF grants. To strengthen our team for the 24-25 school year, we added a few key positions. One of those impactful additions has been our transition coordinator, who supports students and families as they enter the important phase of transition planning in the teenage years on through graduation. We've also expanded our behavior department with the hiring of a behavior specialist. Lauren has brought fresh energy and a valuable experience to our team, revamping procedures, digitizing paperwork, and implementing innovative interventions to better support our students. Our PBS team has had another fantastic year promoting our core values of being safe, responsible, and respectful. Monthly lessons tied to these themes were rolled out school-wide and supported by creative events, including music assemblies, bingo, a collaborative mural, and even a kindness dance. We also launched a tailored MTSS process, multi-tiered system of support. Given our students' diverse learning needs, our team developed a customized approach to monitoring progress and supporting growth. We're excited to continue building on this next school year. All right, our transition coordinator, Matt. Matt, stand up. Matt's back there for us. Woohoo. We're so excited to have Matt. And he has successfully developed partnerships with 10 different job sites, giving students hands-on work experiences across the community. In these pictures, you'll see our students working at some of these: Sheridan Hotel, Papa John's Pizza, Pet Supplies Plus, Sunrise of Northville Assisted Living, We Rock the Spectrum Gym, Senate Coney Island, Ace Hardware, Northville High School Cafeteria, the Northville Board of Ed, and the Northville Transportation Building. We're incredibly grateful for the work Matt has done to build these opportunities and for the ongoing support and collaboration from teachers, paras, and ancillary staff who have made this possible from week to week. Lastly, we're proud to share that Cook staff were awarded 8 NEF grants totaling over $10,000. These funds have helped enhance learning environments, expand micro businesses, and strengthen our PBS programming. Here are a few of the highlights in the pictures. In the upper left there, costumes and props were purchased to bring stories to life, enriching student engagement and deepening comprehension with the storytelling library. Next to that is an electric peeler, allows students to take part in a full production process from prep to service for a classroom juice cart micro business. Next to that, we had a classroom teacher create a vibrant butterfly garden where students observed and participated in the butterfly life cycle and were able to release them into a warm and friendly garden space. On the far right there, we have Casey's Cart, created a mobile PBS reward that offers games and adaptive activities for all learning levels. Games and activities were purchased to support breaks and classroom fun. Our office staff used grant funds to improve storage solutions and enhance student-based job roles, complete with vests, ID badges, and a job board. Our adaptive PE teacher modified a leaf blower that turned it into a versatile tool that she could use to help students serve in volleyball, make baskets in basketball, and kick field goals. This made physical education more inclusive with the touch of a switch. We don't have current pictures, but we had one of our school stores. It's purchased new appliances, product shelving, and a portable cart, which helped improve the functionality of that store. The hotspot provides job training in sales, stocking, and community service. Stephanie, who actually just spoke, she had created a classroom. So she used an unused, on the far right there, she used an unused space between classrooms to create a sensory calming space for her preschool and elementary age students to reset and recharge. Each of these updates represents the heartbeat of Cook: creativity, care, and an unwavering commitment to student growth. I'm proud of what we've accomplished and look forward to all that's ahead in the future. Next, I'm going to pass the mic back to Miss Jen, who's going to take us home.
Thank you, Jen. So I get the reward and the treasure to be able to tell you that within your award packets, you have lots of information about our common assessment. Our common assessment is a whole school tool which assesses our students' growth in many ways. It allows us to capture prompt levels and also capture developmentally where our students are making growth. So we're looking at not just the correct answer, which is ultimately where we want to go, but at the beginning, we're looking at how our students interact, how they best interact, which way is the best way to present to them so that they can give a response and answer and show you what they know. We are looking at joint attention, which is a developmental skill, and we're looking at how do you explore with the objects that you are learning about. And those things give us those very small increments of learning, which we know is critical to our kids. So I'm proud to say that in ELA and math, we met our goals and that we continue to grow in our behavior as well. This year, we realigned our behavior standards, and so we kind of raised the bar a bit. So we didn't quite make our 15% that we expected, but we still looked at growth in every single area, which makes me proud as the principal. I will say also that when we're working on a skill, first we look towards communication, and that's critical because our students need to show what they know first, and they need to be able to communicate it reliably. So as we look to grow communication for all of our students, we first start with how do we know what the students know, and we look at building strategies with communication before we look at building academic strategies, even though we're introducing and teaching those things as we go. That's why our motto starts with I can communicate, because it's the first thing that we have to focus on for our students. Restorative practice this year was an amazing journey, as we have the second year of having a mentor that helped us and a coach for the district. So in the second year, all of our staff was trained, as well as starting the year off with classroom agreements. And we used the restorative techniques and strategies across the year in our PD. As we look, our PA team, our leadership team took on lots of roles where they developed proactive check-ins and helped teams with problem solving. Within the classroom, we evolved and also looked at how students are able to use circles and problem solving. We looked at IEP strengths within some classrooms and definitely help with decision makings and difficult transitions. One of the things that we're looking for next year is also in your folder is we're working on grief circles, listening circles, and that unfortunately we do have losses as you know in our community, and that's something that as we deal with, we want to make sure that our students and our staff are able to cope with that. So we're working through restorative practice to help us with that as well. I first watched The Often Forgotten as a junior in my Northville High School psychology class. And when I began here 13 years ago, I was the assistant principal for many of the people that are here who started this work. It's something that's personally a part of my pride as well as the district. And that is why as we look at our students, as they continue to work in new locations, continue to look at work in the food pantry so that they can work and serve others and continue to grow inclusive opportunities, not just at the middle school, at the high school, and our satellites, but here in our building, not just one time a year during Inclusion Week, but across the year is really critically important. So we have elementary students that come for gardening, we have middle school students that participate in our art day, and we have high school students that help across the year as well. And this is really important to us. Again, I think that shows our commitment, which is really unending, to those words from 1975, our team cook today is really important. So 50 years ago, this work was really just beginning. We have lots to celebrate, but I wanted to say happy birthday to IDEA. If you could play that video, please.
Happy 50th birthday. Happy birthday, IDEA. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Done.
Thank you. We have some cupcakes for
Oh
everyone
my
because what's a birthday
gosh.
without celebration?
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. I feel speechless, to be honest.
Yeah, you know,
Not sure where to start.
Before everyone leaves and whatnot, when we go to our elementary schools, we'll often get a picture with everyone behind the board. I think what Lisa just said, and pardon the emotion, is you are speechless. I mean, the fact is, I know Len felt this way. I met with him my first couple months in here, and he actually brought me the movie in the celluloid format, and I gave it to Jen. Jen said that she watched it when she was a student here. I'm just giving you guys some time to get your emotions together. But this is why. I mean, this is the why of public education. This is it. This is the physical embodiment, and we are sitting here with legends. I'm going to tell you all, when you're up there, each of you were speaking and talking about your involvement and commitment. And I was writing down like 38 years, 40-something years, like the fit of you all finding these kids and these kids finding you in the impact that you've made and lived lives worth living. Stunning. Stunning. Like, I'm going to lose it in a second, so I'm going to kick it over to the board to the right. But you are amazing human beings, and I can't tell you how grateful to actually share space with you tonight, that I am, at least, to know that you gave what you gave and believed in something, Len, and put your neck out to lead it, that a lot of people could have just said, let somebody else do it. And Len taught me a story of why Northville and the sanatorium out there and those other pieces. And really at that time, unfortunately, it was about getting people who they felt were different as far away from Detroit as possible in Wayne County. And that's us. And rather than looking at it as a deficit, you and the board and a group of people looked at it as something that meant that was actually an honor and an opportunity. Wow. Wow. Please.
So I'm going to take the, if you
Feel
don't
free to
mind,
start. Yeah, whoever would like to start.
I guess the great opportunity to speak first, because I had children in the district when Dr. Osmirski was leading us as superintendent and lived in this community during these developmental years. And so I feel, when I listened to every one of your testimonies, I felt it viscerally as a community member that you brought along with you, and many of you spoke about that this was not only creating your relationships among yourselves, but between the kids and the families and the community. So Len, I echo what Dr. Weber just said, which is the vision to see what is the possible, to see the possible before anybody else, and then to set out and move toward that is courage beyond description. And it's married with a deep passion that became very clear in all of the comments tonight, is that really deep passion that it takes to create a path where there's no path. It was a field, it was there was nothing, and you made it happen. And I'm so respectful of the work that you did to put together a curriculum and a structure that was shared not only here locally, but across the United States, and in 2 districts that I understand that they're still using the guidance that they gained from that curriculum that you developed. That's it. What an accomplishment, I think, for an educator who we all are committed to our kids and our families, but that working where there's no pathway and creating it for these kids and these families is phenomenal. I will never forget your words. I have so many other things to say, but I am pretty moved by what you did, Jen, in putting together a timeline, a continuum of how this happened over 50 years. That's, that is a story really that you can't really capture on a piece of paper with words. I mean, it is people, it is who you are and what your stories were that you told that are so compelling. So thank you for that gift that you brought to us tonight. And I'll listen with a much deeper appreciation for the journey that you took for 37 years and 28 years and 55 years and all of these multiple decades of commitment that you shared with us tonight. It's my honor to hear it. Thank you.
I think we'll probably all end up echoing the same kind of thing, so I'll try to keep it short. What struck me, and to be a little bit of a downer, as we all know, the IDEA is an unfulfilled promise. It's never been fully funded. And even now, it feels a little bit threatened, to be honest. But yet you did the work. You got up and you did the work as it was beginning, and it's continuing today, where we have professionals who come every day and give 110%. I know as a board, we're often reflective of the people who come before us and done the work here. And tonight was a good reminder of all the people that it takes to get our district where it is right now. And I'm so thankful for each of you for showing up tonight. It was wonderful to hear from you, as it's been previously stated. And I appreciate the current staff for sharing as well. It's so impactful, and it helps me keep in mind that we have to keep our eye on making sure our kids get the best and what they deserve and what they were promised. So thank you.
I'll just say briefly, because again, echoing what everyone has said, I already knew the passion, compassion, love, patience, but what did stand out to me is the bravery and the trailblazing. Thank you for everything you do. These students, they are individuals, they deserve so much, and I love how you put everything into them. It shows. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of you that came. I loved hearing the stories from the staff, from all you, the retirees. There's one thing, I notice every time I'm in this building, nothing is cookie cutter. Everything is done custom to give each student, you take least restrictive environment to heart, and you do everything you can to give all these students every single opportunity. And I just loved the trailblazing, all the unique creativity with the symbols and everything I've seen over the years. So thank you all very much. It's wonderful.
I'm going to try to do this without crying. Wow, tonight is what education is all about here in this moment, and seeing as a former teacher, it's just so inspiring to see all of you who have dedicated your lives to this work. It's not even a profession, it's a calling. And it's just amazing and incredible to be in this room with all of you who have done just incredible things for this community, the community that my husband grew up in, the community we're raising our kids in, because we believe in it so much, and we believe in everything that you have done. Stepping away from education myself was really difficult, but that's part of the reason why I decided to join the school board, because this is the important work, and I'm just so honored to be here with all of you, and thank you for your service to education and our children.
I think, what Ron just said about the customization and looking at your handmade letter boards and having to hand draw the pictures because something like that didn't exist. And then now to hear about the NEF grant, and I'm a big crier too, so, to hear about the NEF grant and customizing a leaf blower to help in PE class. I mean, my goodness, it's just
That was
amazing.
That's a good one.
That's it. That's all I got.
It's beautiful.
As I was hearing all of the stories, I kept thinking about, my years on the board, and one of the things that is said often is we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And I think back to, I was 5 in 1976. So in my lifetime, I've gotten to see this through my childhood, now as an adult, now serving on the school board, and literally generations of caregivers who've supported these students, really finding that path. There is no path, right? When a child can't speak, when they have difficulty moving their bodies, it takes patience. It takes willingness to be quiet and hear what's not being said, to foster that connection so that you can provide that light and that path for a student to be able to communicate, to be able to get what they need, to be able to learn. The innovation, to be pioneers here in Michigan, right? We know that funding for education in Michigan, it's severely underfunded, not to mention special education funding. It's sad. I feel hopeful when I see all of the work that each of you have done. I'm so inspired by literally being in the seat, having this opportunity to stand on your shoulders and say, okay, what can we do next? How can we keep advocating for these kids, these young adults, the families, educators, to be able to get what our educators need to be able to provide this light? I was thinking about just the robust learning environments, to have the foresight and the forethought to say, you know what, maybe we can make our own symbols. We'll figure it out. We'll do it. It's so important. It takes time. It takes creativity. It takes passion. It takes willingness to be brave and to be inclusive. I think the part that really stands out to me in Northville, I've lived all over the country, was drawn to Northville because it really feels like such a special place. And it's been proven to me over and over again that this is such a unique place for education, for kids, for all students, and particularly the kids with the greatest needs that people really 50 years ago did not know how to meet the needs. We would try, and I love the willingness to keep trying over and over again and innovating and trying again and asking again. Each kid is getting what they need. I'm so proud. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this process with each of us. We're all doing this work, and it's hard and it's draining. And to the families also for entrusting Northville Public Schools with the care of putting your nonverbal child on a bus and trusting they'll get what they need by loving caregivers. I wish I would have worn mine tonight. The Cook Love t-shirt is my favorite. To be in Cook is feeling love for people, and we all do it together. So I could keep rambling, but I just wanted to say thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. We take this commitment seriously to make sure that the students are getting what they need, families are getting what they need, and that staff are getting what they need. We're all integrated. So thank you.
And before we have folks come up, I think the superintendency has changed. And we are living in a time, and I want to echo something Ms. Meyer said. Len, for years we were told in public education, people like you and I have no place in political comments or whatnot. I don't know how now, in this moment, we don't and can't. Beth Santer is at the Mackinac Policy Conference this week, and she and I spoke before she left. And I asked her, what's the most important thing that when you buttonhole people up there, what kind of words are you going to have with them? And she landed on Medicaid and how important Medicaid funding is for our kids and our families. 100%. I will say it. It's unconscionable to think that the students and the families that these beautiful people serve have to face anxiety and concern for the care of their children because we want to cut costs. These are people. They're human beings deserving of every single penny that's spent and minute that is spent. There is not, in my 3 years here, a parent who would say, I asked for this. I wanted my child to be born with this level of need. The policies that our politicians enact and where we put our resources is all those folks need to say about how they feel about our kids, each of our kids. So, Ms. Meyer, I'm glad that you said what you said. It's real. And for one, I am grateful to live in Michigan, a state that has the commitment we do, the only state in the union that goes to 26. And it's the right thing. And the people who serve our kids and the families deserve the resources that they need to take care of them. And Jen, your respect for the generation that came before us, if people like myself and the people to my right don't fight for what all of you built, shame on us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if I could ask, if you're comfortable, this includes anyone in the room because this is going to be a great picture. If you don't want it, you're in witness protection or something, that's fine. I get it. But if anyone who would like to could please come up and stand behind the Board of Education, I would be appreciative. Thank you. It's right back here. There's plenty of room.
This school always gets me the most. Come on in. Come on in. I'm not gonna bite, I promise.
This whole program meant a lot to me while I worked here. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right, let's get back to our agenda. Thank you, everybody, for truly incredible. All right, next we have our superintendent's report, which is our Above and Beyond the Call of Duty Awards, I think, is our first agenda item, but I'm not sure if you have anything else, Dr. Weber.
Nope.
Okay. All right, then we will move ahead to our ABCD Awards.
I do have one thing. I got to see an amazing teacher this morning. I was at Meads Mill on a visit with a couple of board members, and I hear this just amazing Spanish coming from a Spanish classroom. You walk across a hall, and it's none other than Dr. Sandra Brock doing her super sub at Meads Mill, and that was a skill set. And you had the kids; they loved you. So thank you for doing that. And again, thank you to Beth Sander for advocating at the Mackinac Policy Conference tonight and for the next few days. Again, everything that you heard when we said we meant, this place is everything, and for so many reasons. So thank you. And we get to honor so many people here. You do tonight, right now. So let's do it.
All right. Well, it is my great honor to inform Mrs. Casebeer. Ms. Casebeer, are you in the audience?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I am pleased to notify you that you've been nominated for an ABCD award. And this, for anybody who's in the audience who doesn't understand this award, it is a designation that was established to provide an avenue of recognition and appreciation for staff contributions that are believed to rise beyond the norm, making significant contributions to the classroom, the school, and community. It's kind of the theme tonight, isn't it? So a colleague nominated you and made this submission on your behalf, saying, Carrie is a highly motivated and involved teacher at Hillside Middle School. She advocates for all, capital ALL, students, on top of being a stellar teacher and colleague to many. She also initiated getting unified basketball set up at Hillside. And she is passionate about Northville becoming a unified district, which we are very proud of and support fully. It's an honor to have you recognized for this. And she is working to help other students become more inclusive. And I know that work is going on at Meads Mill also, using that same approach and the learnings that were achieved at Hillside, and it's trickling down to our 6 elementary schools. So it is echoing, continues to echo far and far beyond what you have started. So, Ms. Casebeer, you're remarkable. Thank you for letting us honor you tonight.
And then on the tape block right over there, it's marked on the ground. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and the mark.
I have the honor of presenting the next award to Ms. Carrie Parks. Is Ms. Parks here? Hello.
Yay.
And Ms. Parks is an occupational therapist here at Cook, and a colleague made this submission on your behalf. Colleague writes, I have had the pleasure of working with Carrie for my 4 years at Cook School. She has serviced all of my students, addressing all their occupational therapy needs. She works closely with them on their fine motor skills and comes up with creative ways to adapt vocational job tasks so that each student can complete them. She pushes into our classroom once a week and has created lessons working on sensory needs, zones of regulation, emotional regulation coping strategies, and pre-vocational skills. She is truly amazing, going above and beyond to meet each individual student's needs and working collaboratively with myself to ensure that they have all they need to be successful.
and he still talks about it because he loves the stuff, but he always calls it TO. He says, Mama, can we go to TO? No, we're done with that, but congratulations. Thank you.
Well done.
All right, I have the honor of presenting Danielle Richards an award tonight. I know she's here. Danielle, you're recognized for being the current PTA treasurer, and the parent who made the submission also talks about how you're very organized, you're up to date, and you're being the middle person to make sure that checks and deposits are updated for PTA treasurer. I can imagine that's a lot of work, having served in a similar role. However, not only have you gone above and beyond for PTA, this parent has personally witnessed many times in your classroom of doing the same with your students. You're a caring teacher that focuses, pushes, and cheers on her students. Your class runs a coffee cart business, which the students love participating in and has been so successful because of the dedication and time you have given them. Thank you for everything you're doing for our kids.
Okay, I have the privilege of presenting an award to Mr. Jerome Ferris. Is he here? Oh, bummer, because I'm super excited about this one, and I'm gonna tease everyone, and I'm not gonna say why. Our daughter participated on the unified basketball team for the past 3 years. It has been amazing to watch her and her teammates connect with friends and peers. Their growth in confidence and skill has been amazing. The entire coaching staff is amazing. One quiet but impactful role of basketball is the referee. I don't think I've ever had ABCD word for referee. I don't know if I'll ever get one again. And I'm so excited to present this because it's true. Referees are extremely important to games. This person who supports and encourages the students in fair play and runs up and down the court for the entire game. Jerome has always been a friendly presence and models good sportsmanship and connection with the kids on both the Hillside team and our friends who come from other schools. I'm always impressed with how dedicated Jerome seems to our students and shows up at every home game to referee. Thank you, Jerome, for all you do and the quiet and impactful influence you have on our kids. Sincerely, thank you for being a referee and in that capacity as well. So thank you very much to him, even though he's not here tonight.
I have an honor of presenting the ABCD Award to Justina Goetz. Is she here tonight? Okay. Well, for Justina, a parent nominated you for this, and she says, our daughter has had Justina for 2 years as a para, but before that, Justina has been a PTA board member while having a busy personal life. As a para, she has helped with different suggestions during concerning situations. She's always shown compassion to our daughter with hugs, smiles, laughter, and more, making it so easy for our daughter to love being in class. As a PTA board member, she has always gone above and beyond with helping organize fundraisers, collecting things for us, and being there when we need it the most. Thank you, Justina.
All right, I get the next one presented to Mary Buffone. Is she here tonight? Awesome. She's in food service here at Cook School. A colleague nominated you, and she or he, I don't know. Mary goes above and beyond for our students at Cook. Besides making healthy and delicious lunches, she also builds a relationship with everyone. Whether it's taking the time to say hi at breakfast or remembering their favorite foods, Mary is truly more than just a lunch lady, but a superhero here at Cook. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I have the pleasure of reading the award here for Miss Stephanie Crane. Is Miss Crane here? So Miss Crane is a teacher here at Cook, and Miss Crane, you were nominated by a parent, and the letter said, "Every single day, I witness Stephanie going above and beyond for her students, no matter how busy life can get. She notices many things that others may not catch right away. She thinks about how many things could affect her students and then tries to help them right away. She brings so much inclusion to her students and community. On top of it all, she is so caring, genuine, and passionate towards her students and their loved ones. Stephanie, thank you for being such a great teacher to your students, but also a calming light to a parent navigating this bumpy road." Thank you very much.
All right, then we'll move on to our first opportunity for public comment. I have 3 cards here. So first I'll call Dawn Trembath. And please remember that you have 3 minutes. And if you could start by telling us your name and if you're a resident within Northville Public Schools or which school your student attends here in Northville.
Hi, my name is Dawn Trembath, and I live in Northville Township. And my son Cole, he attends Cook, and he's been there for 5 years. He's 23 right now. We love this school. He loves school. He loves coming. My concern is the calendar, and that there are an abundance of half days this year. I believe 16. That is a really 17. That is a really big increase from last year. Half days with children with special needs are very difficult. I work, my husband works, so it's hard to try to arrange, care for him. And then in addition to that, the summer school program has changed from 4, I believe it was like 6 or 7 weeks, and now it's going to be 4 weeks. And so the whole month of August, he will not have any kind of schooling. So he thrives on routine. He has autism. And because of this change in the calendar, it's just going to be challenging, especially this summer. So thank you for your attention to this.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. The next card I have is from Hassan Hussein. I don't know if I said that right.
Thank you. My name is Bisan Hussein. I live actually in Livonia, but my daughter goes here to Cook. This is our 5th year, I think. Today, I represent a number of parents whose students attend Cook. Unfortunately, a lot of them were not able to come today. This is due to the constant traumatic stress parent caregivers of Cook students face on a daily basis. This is to show how our lives are so fragile that we can't even make it to a meeting that represents our school. We are tuned up to let things go and hope for the best. If some of you may not know, this year's Cook calendar has changed drastically. We have 17 half days throughout the school year, which is an added 11 more to previous years. 6 of them are in the last 9 days of school. On top of that, these half days are placed on holidays like Halloween and Valentine's Day, where our students enjoy having parties and fun just like any other student in Gen Ed. But now they can't due to these half days. We would like to add that for some of these students, these are the only parties and events they would even participate in. We recently just had our annual Cook family picnic, and some of us couldn't even make it to spend a day with our child because we needed the time off for the half days. This caused emotional and behavioral distress for students, their staff, and their families. These frequent early dismissals significantly reduce instructional time and interfere with students' ability to meet their IEP goals. Cook students often rely on consistency and structure. Disrupted routines can lead to emotional distress, particularly those with medical or behavioral needs. Additionally, finding care with students with complex needs is extremely difficult. Many parents are forced to miss work to provide care, not just for the half days, but for medical reasons or illnesses. For some, the effort required to prepare a student for school on a shortened day outweighs the benefit, leading them to skip school altogether. 17 half days could realistically mean over 3 weeks of school missed. Our list can go on and how much these changes affect our students. We ask you, would you want this for your child in any form of schooling? How would you feel if you need to figure out 6 half days in a row with work? How much money will you lose out because you have to stay home to watch your child due to 17 half days? Why wasn't there a parent advisory committee included on these drastic changes just like everything else in this district? Why can't anyone have a discussion with us about it so that we can all be on the same page for our students? Our questions, just like our list, can go on and on. A letter was sent to all of you on May 1st highlighting concerns of many parents of Cook students regarding changes made to this year's school calendar. This letter was signed by over 100 individuals who support students at Cook. We have yet to receive a reply.
Thank you.
We are aware that the trustees are
Thank
only
you.
allowed to discuss concerns.
Thank
and
you.
we
Your
request that
time
you
is
just
up.
look at it.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Our next card is from Mike Wheel. All good.
You guys hear me without the mic? Sure. Okay, please use the microphone for public record.
Oh.
Well.
Yeah.
No, just to echo what some folks have already said. I am also a Livonia resident, Mike Well, my daughter. You saw her in the video towards the end singing happy birthday. That's Megan. She is in a dual diagnosis program here at Cook School. But like some other folks said, she thrives on everything. She thrives on just having things pretty much the same expectations. Doesn't understand half day. Doesn't understand abbreviated summer sessions. Doesn't understand why, there's this whole month that's ahead of her that she'll not be participating in school. Doesn't really get it when there's Christmas, so she can't go right back to school. So the extra time is going to be tough. It's tough on my wife and I. It's tough on other parents of similarly impacted kids. It's not, the half day thing. Just getting one of our kids ready to go to school, getting them out of bed, fed, into the wheelchair. Some of these kids are not even a bus ride. And there's going to be gaps in nutrition and time spent on the bus just to go for a half day. Just, can we shrink that down to be at least with parity with the other schools in the district? It's a reasonable request. I think the parent advisory committee on scheduling, very reasonable request. And I think that having that input, particularly with the special needs of these families, is just like including the customer in some of the decision making. And that would be very, very much appreciated. Did I miss anything? No? Okay. 105 people on the letter. Hopefully this isn't the first time you guys are hearing about these concerns. And we look forward to having additional discussion.
Thank you. All right, there's no additional cards? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, our next agenda item then is to you, Ms.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes, let's do some hiring. I'd like to bring forward motion 106 that the board award a one-year NEA ancillary staff contract to Elliott Fish for the 25-26 school year as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer, supported by Mr. Frazier, and excited to hear more.
Thank you. Yeah, we're 0 for 2 on those mics. Thank you, President McIntyre and Secretary Meyer. Yes, this evening I'd like to bring forward to the board Elliot Fish for school social work position at Winchester Elementary. Elliot has been fulfilling her school social work internship at Winchester this past school year through Wayne State University, where she completed her master's in social work. During this past year in her internship, she's established herself as part of the fabric at Winchester, supporting both students and staff. During her interview, no surprise to those that were already familiar with Elliot, but she discussed her passion for connecting with young people and supporting them and their individual needs, and how social work provides her with such an opportunity to pursue that passion and help students. She's demonstrated that same passion throughout the course of this school year at Winchester while fulfilling her internship. Her previous internship prior to Winchester included case management and therapeutic work in more of a clinical setting, while her work as a freelance nanny further demonstrates her love for working with young people. In addition to her master's in social work, Elliot holds a bachelor's degree in English literature from Wayne State. It is with great pleasure that our interview team recommends Elliot Fish for the Winchester School Social Work position this evening.
Awesome. Cool.
And
Yes.
with that, I'd like to recommend, on behalf of Central Office Administrative Team, that the Board of Education approve an ancillary employee contract for Elliot Fish for the 25-26 school year.
Cool. I love hearing when there's a student teacher or an intern that becomes a great fit for the district. So not to be presumptuous, but is there any questions or any other comments that the board would like to make? Okay, let's go ahead and move with a vote then. Let's see, I forgot to go through this part. Yeah, mostly properly set. I did all that. We're moving on to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, welcome, Ms. Fish. Is she here tonight?
I didn't see her.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for that. And then, all right, next one also to you, Ms. Meyer.
All right, yes, I'd like to bring forward motion 107 that the board award a one-year probationary NASA contract to Kelly Moffitt, Hillside Middle School Assistant Principal for the 25-26 school year as presented. Support.
All right, we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer, supported by Dr. Campbell-Voitel. I'm excited to hear more about the decision about Ms. Moffitt.
My favorite thing to do is to bring those folks up here. Come on, Kelly. So while Kelly's walking up here, I will let you know that she may or may not have been in a dunk tank probably 2 hours ago. Were you able to get excused? She got to go first. Well, you look great for having been in a dunk tank.
And she still wants a job.
This is good news.
So I want to tell you a little bit about kind of what the journey that led Kelly here beside me today. It was not an easy path. We received over 100 applicants for the position that Kelly ended up getting. Spoiler alert, I think I just gave away the lead on this one. We did receive 110 applications. Principal Jones and I screened many of those. We then brought forward several candidates to our central office leadership team, which ended up recommending a couple of candidates, quality candidates. You know, we are so fortunate here in Northville to have quality teacher and administrator candidates that come to us. Went through that stakeholder process, and that stakeholder process includes teachers and support personnel and principals in the building, and very importantly, students. Students are very much part of our hiring process. I am very happy to say that Ms. Kelly Moffitt, who has been our interim assistant principal for 4 months. 3 months, it seems longer because she's really good at it. She came through in flying colors, and we offered her that position after a final interview with Superintendent Weber. Just a little background on Kelly. She has a really interesting background. I hope at some point all of you get a chance to talk with her over at Hillside because it is fascinating. She's an art teacher, a wonderful art teacher at Hillside. Prior to that, she worked in the K-8 classrooms in Colorado. And she also had some really interesting leadership roles in the private sector, which I think you're applying every day in administration and leadership in schools. She has a bachelor's degree from Bowling Green University, a master's in school administration from Eastern. And she, as well as Northville Public Schools, is super excited to have her continue her leadership journey here with Northville.
Did you guys plan matching outfits today?
Well, we didn't, but I did wonder when I saw you back there. I'm like, you're good. So I'm going to jump into the next person, and then I'm going to make a recommendation for all to hire. So I won't make you stand up here for this one, but we're going to applaud you.
Do you want me to read the motion, or do you want to go ahead with your recommendation?
Yeah, can we do the second one, or do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and read the
Okay.
motion. Yep.
I'd like to bring forward motion 108, that the board award a one-year probationary NASA contract to Daniel Schmidt-Dial for the 25-26 school year as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Secretary Meyer, supported by Treasurer Stewart. Excited to hear more.
I guess I don't have to stand up because I can't bring him up here, and you're going to find out why in a minute. Daniel Schmidt-Dial,
excuse me.
It's Schmidt and Deal. I found out how to pronounce his name easily. We had, again, 125 applicants for this assistant principal position. That is incredible in today's world where, applicants are sometimes hard to find. And these were great applicants. So great that Tony and I screened almost 20 of those folks. So we screened them, had some great conversations, brought 8 forward to our central office leadership team. Again, great problem to have, we're looking at all of these great applicants. We ended up bringing 4 of them forward to the A team at Northville High School, the administrative team. We brought them to an interview series before we went to stakeholder. That 4 narrowed it down to 3. We did have 1 remove themselves from the position when they got to the stakeholder interview, and I appreciate that when folks give some reflection on kind of where they're at. When it becomes a little bit more real that, hey, I might get this job. I want to do some checking in on myself and where I'm at right now. And fortunately, that happened before the stakeholder interview. Mr. Koski in Northville Mustang style he outdid himself with the stakeholder interviews. It was the largest stakeholder interview I've ever managed for a building level position. There were, we called them the Northville 19. I had 19 teachers and parents and support staff at Northville High School, all very interested in finding out more and being part of that stakeholder and input process. Additionally, we had 5 students who I think could probably run this district, just saying. They were incredibly insightful. As a result of all of those conversations, the stakeholder team of the 2 applicants that were brought forward unanimously felt that we had 1 applicant that was the strongest candidate to move forward. After conversations with Dr. Weber, we interviewed Mr. Schmidt-Dial, and after thorough reference checking, we offered that position, obviously pending your approval, which he accepted very enthusiastically. Here's why he's not here. So he's not here because he's currently the principal at Eastlake High School in Pinellas County, Florida. And this is his last week with kids. So he is back with his kids, very excited to come back to his hometown, which is his home state, which is Michigan. His hometown is quite far north of here in the UP. But him and his wife are coming back to stay here in Southeast Michigan, and they're so excited to have this opportunity here in Northville. His wife is also a teacher, and she is also interviewing for assistant principal positions in the county right now. So we're going to wish her lots of luck. Mr. Schmidt-Dial was an assistant prior to being the principal. He was an assistant principal of curriculum, instructional staff developer, a math and science teacher. He has his degree from Central Michigan University, where he met his wife, and his master's in educational leadership from National Louis University. Some of the things when, I do deep reference checks, and I talk to a lot of people to find out, a little bit more about somebody that I don't really know, except through the interview process. And the thing that was so consistent was every single person that I talked to, and I talked to people that aren't on his reference list too, they describe him as compassionate and courageous, a leader who values collaboration, and keeps students at the center of every decision. That was the consistent message over and over again, which is, everything that Northville Public Schools is about. So he's excited to return to Michigan and bring his leadership to Northville High School. With that said, on behalf of the central office administration team, I recommend to the Board of Education a 1-year probationary contract for Kelly Moffitt to serve as assistant principal at Hillside Middle School, and Daniel Schmidl to serve as the assistant principal at Northville High School for the 25-26 school year.
Amazing. Okay, well, let's go ahead with a vote and then we can, or do you want any comments? We already had the motion.
I did both
Yeah,
motions.
Yeah, we already had the motion. Excited. These seem like really incredible candidates. All right, let's go ahead with the vote.
I mean, I have to say, as a parent who has had, I think, both of my kids go through Miss Moffitt's art class, I am sad to see her leave the art classroom, but I'm very excited to have her stay at Hillside and continue leading Hillside. It's pretty exciting. So
Mr. Sumner's working on that too. He's got some things.
art teacher.
He's got some
Okay.
things.
All right.
Teacher, assistant
Yeah.
principal extraordinaire.
Exactly.
Yeah, really excited to move forward on this. All right, let's go ahead with the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
I just
No,
wanna-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to thank both of you and all the people that were involved in the stakeholder process and all the interviews that you did. Thank you very much. And thank you for making sure that members of our community were included in that process as well. So, and students,
Yeah,
yes, and
I
students.
really appreciate the
Yes.
students being
Yes,
involved.
thank you
and
for that
having
mention.
Their voice
Yes.
in that process. as
And
well.
I think you're 100% right. They probably could too.
And I hope that they do turn up again and
Yes.
apply for a job.
Yes, there's lots of opportunities. I'm excited too to see this continuity at Hillside, right? That this is really a great move, and excited that you're now hired as the official assistant principal. It's great.
And if I could offer, Bill Jones is here tonight. He's been
Yes.
standing back there, showing up, I'm going to guess, not for me, but for Kelly. Is there anything you'd like to say, Bill?
No, I'm excited and very proud of Kelly. It doesn't feel like it was all that long ago where I was standing in my makeshift office doing a virtual interview to hire her as an art teacher. I think about the ABCD Awards, she has gone above and beyond to do everything that we have asked her to do and then some. Taken on leadership roles in the building through Galileo. As Ms. Meck said, it has been a long and difficult journey, I think, for her. And I think that is the mark of an administrator and an assistant principal at middle school. It's the hardest job that there is. And to keep showing up day after day after day after day after day, and embracing the conflict and the struggle for those little wins, sit in the dunk tank, May evening, even when I gave her the option to not do that, she did it anyway. And I think that has been the mark of some of her leadership and her service here, is that she will always do what you ask her to do, and that's so thank you. I'm excited to have you on board officially, and I'm really excited.
Awesome. Oh, and thank you to the families of these wonderful people that have chosen and been successful hires here for us, because we know that each one of our staff are supported by committed family members, and that's what it takes to be excellent in your profession and in your craft. And so I'm just going to call out a little thanks to the families behind these super people that are with us. Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. All right. Next up, this is you, Dr. Campbell-Voitel.
All right, so now that we have the educators on board, we can give them some super support around curricular materials. I am bringing motion 109 that the board authorize the administration to purchase and update a novel for English 9 and Honors English 9, changing from Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck to a new novel, The House of Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel and supported by Ms. Meyer. Sorry, Ms. Stewart. I was looking at you, said Meyer. My
Yep.
bad. I know that we talked about it last week in our committee of the whole. I think from my perspective, I go back to our district goals, and our district goal 3 is talking about reimagined curriculum and instruction that is relevant, responsive, and personalized, encouraging student ownership over time, place, path, and pace, and learning environments that reflect the technology tools of today, from pre-K through graduation. So excited to learn, I guess, a little bit more. I know we talked about it in depth. I don't know if you can give us just a quick summary of kind of like the rationale behind this novel and this shift.
Sure.
There we go. I got it. Great. Thank you. Yes. So in a nutshell, the biggest piece of bringing this novel forward is that the ELA 9 curriculum is very classic based, and there's a lot of heavy themes. There's a lot of heavy content. So bringing forward something that is more light, but also highly engaging to students is what the English teachers like to do. They've spent years looking for a new novel. They finally landed on the right one. They've spent a lot of time. And I think they feel that this will engage kids and also bring some levity to some really hard content. I think it's been over 20 years since they asked for a new book. They met collaboratively as the ELA 9 team and then with the broader group, which is the ELA department. And so that's the reason for the change.
Super helpful.
I think, you talked about the classics heavy on the 9th grade. And so I just wanted to point out, the 9th grade ELA class reads Fahrenheit 451, Night, Romeo and Juliet, and To Kill a Mockingbird. And then the honors class, let's see, they add in Midsummer Night's Dream, The House on Mango Street, and the rest of it is the same. So I feel like, especially you mentioned at our committee of the whole last week that this would be the opener, like the kind of the soft launch of freshman year as, kids are trying to find their way in the high school. I started the book. I didn't finish it. I had a busy weekend, but I started it and I'm really enjoying it so far. Thank you for getting me a copy of it. I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, I think too that one of the things we've been really talking about since my tenure on the board is really the inclusion piece that we were focusing on tonight, right? Inclusion for all students. Looking at our kindness piece. I really appreciate that Mr. Jones was wearing his Be Nice shirt. We've been so focused on mental health, inclusion, and really focusing on being responsive to student needs and trends. I had the opportunity to have a conversation with my high school graduates and some other high school graduates and a teacher in another district who's an avid reader. And we were talking about why a shift and how it can be hard to have some changes. And the comment from all the people in this conversation was, well, things are kind of heavy. It's hard to navigate 9th grade year sometimes. And the takeaway I took from this particular text, I also had hoped to read it over the weekend, but ran out of time, is that it handles difficult topics in a really sweet way that makes it accessible for kids. And there's a lesson that can come out of this that that we do want our kids to learn, and fosters just some resiliency that's so important, and finding your place and belonging. And I think starting that conversation in 9th grade, when it is a really hard time to find your place, a lot of kids don't have classes maybe with their 8th grade friends. We have the combination of 2 middle schools. So looking at mental health, inclusion, belonging, it seems like this story, as one of the starting texts, opens that door for conversations on, those connections that kids can make with themselves, with each other, and then the literary piece of that, which is how we foster learning and engagement in the process of learning.
I want to thank you, Dr. Brock, for getting a little bit more information from the English department about this. We had a lot of good information in our board packet last week and today, but I think what they provided gave us a little extra context into the struggles that they've had, the challenges with teaching some of the material. So I think it helped me appreciate the change a little bit more. So thank you for that.
I think out of deep respect for the excellence of the English department in the high school, I did think deeply about the proposal and the language and the justification that were provided. Beyond just the story, the frame of the story, it provides substantive opportunities to look at key analytics when you're reading literature, which makes it really appropriate for our young 9th graders. Character development, literary analysis around plot and plot progression. It gives key touchstones that begin a deeper understanding and thinking about a novel and the intent of the author beyond the story being approachable, which is got to be approachable before you can dive down and look at the mechanics of the book. I also want to honor the fact that is one of the things that we are concerned about at the board table is process and how that book was identified and progressed through many filters of discussion and concern with many voices contributing to the decision to make this recommendation. And in our board packet, that frequently I've looked at this, the process of decision making that percolates up from the classroom and the teachers and I'm struggling to think of the term, the English department, I'm sorry, the word department, the English department, and all the way through all of the higher level leadership in the building before it even gets to curriculum committee, and then there's a whole nother process. And of course, it is right in just that the school board has an opportunity to look and review and to make a comment. I mean, we are part of that process, and so we're just trying to do our due diligence, but I was convinced really by the strength of the proposal and the consideration and the adherence to process that convinced me that that's a justified proposal.
Y'all looking at me, I know why. I'm just gonna have to say that for me, I'm gonna have to go with that 2 things can be true. I have deep respect for our English department. I really appreciate the time that was put into this. I don't question their knowledge, their capabilities, their passion, their understanding. I just wrestle with this. I admire the way they care about making literature meaningful and accessible to students, but I have concerns about this book being used instead of something like Mice and Men. I get why it's appealing, it's warm, it's inviting, it has a really positive message, but it doesn't have the same kind of depth or complexity that we normally look for in literature, which is why I do not support this change. But I do wish it all the best, and because I know that it's not, I'm in the minority here, and I respect that, which is also part of the process. But I wish it all success, and I hope that the kids enjoy it, and love to, hear more about it as it's implemented. But I just cannot support it at this time.
I wanted to thank Ms. Meyer, for bringing that up. It's very important for your dissenting views to come forward because there's going to be plenty of parents who feel the same way. So for you to say that, I hadn't thought of that, so I really do appreciate it. For me personally, with this book, I just heard some statistic that 1976, 40% of students would read at least one book, and it was actually 6 books for fun, and only 11 students would read 0 books. These are high school seniors in 1 year, and now that trend is reversed. So I do think it's very important that the English department realize they need to find books that are going to engage our current learners. So that's why I do think it would be important to change based on, current trends, because we have to get these kids engaged. Because if they're reading something they're just not that into, they're not going to absorb the meanings that they should out of it. So that's kind of where I'm landing on it. So I am in favor of the changes, and I appreciate all the hard work. But even though I disagree with you, I tremendously respect you. You bringing up your, minority
I appreciate
opinion.
that.
I really do, and you're a teacher yourself. So thank you. And I love any dissent. I love to hear it because it's things I don't think of. So I very much appreciate it.
Agreed. Anybody else? Anything else? Yeah, I agree. I think as a board of 7, right, it's good for us to have debate, conversations, and it makes us all grow. I think it also, it really does sharpen the process for the district, and hopefully that also reassures the community that we do our due diligence, and we're not just here to say yes to everything, that even if it's a successful vote, we take this role seriously, especially making some changes to curriculum. All right, let's move ahead with a vote then. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay, I don't think I've ever normally won.
Thank you. So we have the motion carries 6-1. And thank you for that good conversation. Next, we'll move to Treasurer Stewart.
All right. I would like to bring forth motion 110, that the board authorize a contract extension for GRBS for the 2025 through 2027 school years as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer Stewart, supported by Ms. Mauer.
Yeah, we did talk about this in depth at our committee of the whole last week. If there's any, highlights or anything you want to bring up again, Mr. Kling?
I'll kind of summarize what we talked about at the CAL, if that's okay. So this is our current GRBS custodial service contract. It expires at the end of this year. And a little back history, we used to have multi-year contracts with GRBS. And after COVID, we kind of went to a year-to-year deal. And we're trying to kind of get back in that 2 to 3 year contract extension. One, it's good for us from a budgeting standpoint. It helps guarantee, that we know what the cost is going to be for the next 2 years. And then also it helps them for just for their operational standpoint. So this is going to be a 2-year contract. And we have a long history with GRBS. I think we've been using them for 13 years now. So that's the high level summary.
All right, good stuff. All right, thank you. That's a good summary. Anything else anybody wants to add? Yeah, I appreciate really the focus on the 2-year contract. There are so many unpredictable things in our budget this year since it's the end of May, and they're talking about at the state level that we're probably not going to have a budget from them anytime soon, but we also have to make our own budget. So thank you for your work on that to make sure that that is a predictable expense for us.
One thing for me that really stands out is that you mentioned that at, the building level, there's opportunity for classroom teachers and building leaders to give feedback on GRBS, and they have positive feedback. And so the schools and the classrooms are happy with the service that they're getting. And I think that's really important. So,
agreed. All right, let's go ahead with a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This microphone is very sensitive to me tonight. Sorry, everyone. All right, let's move ahead to our next agenda item.
All right, I will bring forth motion 111, that the board authorize the administration to extend the contract with Durham School Services for the 2025 through 28 school years as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer Stewart, supported by Secretary Meyer. Love to hear a little bit more. I know we also talked about this in depth at our committee of the whole last week. Definitely a 3-year contract. And I know there's some, I don't know, different rates that are embedded in this contract. So can you give us just a short summary of this as well?
Yeah, so in a similar fashion to the GRBS contract, again, after COVID, kind of went to a 1-year contract with Durham. We've been using them for, I believe, 13 years also. So it's a long relationship. Trying again to get down to that 2 to 3 year cadence. This one would be putting us 3 years out. So it's not the same year that GRBS expires. So it gives us time to kind of analyze both GRBS and Durham individually. So if that means going out for an RFP process, we could do that, and we don't feel kind of rushed. When you stack them up on the same year and they expire in the same year, it kind of becomes a little bit of a challenge. So again, trying to get that 3-year contract, again, budget, being able to give us a clear idea of what we can expect for transportation costs from the budget, and then also helps Durham with their transportation operations. Just to note, one of the things that Durham's been doing a great job with is staffing. In the last year, we've seen a real uptick in staffing. We're now at 122% staffed, which is great. Really anything above 110 is ideal. So that's been a really nice change. Trying to think if there's anything else you would like to expand on. There was a part of this contract is taking into account Durham has their own staffing groups, and last year they had a large increase in their I think it was a sorry, let me find it here. Yeah, $3.46 increase per hour that they absorbed. They did not pass that along to us, and they are not looking for that cost back. They just kind of want to make it whole moving forward. So that was a really nice gesture on their part. Again, nodding to the 13 years of a partnership between Durham and Northville Public Schools. So that's a little note on kind of that first year increase in that contract is adjusting for that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think from my perspective, we have really seen that improvement with bus runs. There's been fewer complaints, at least to this place. So I imagine, I mean, it seems like things are running well. We have a new manager, if that's the right term, in charge from Durham. And it seems like that relationship is going well, and he's doing a great job with scheduling runs and identifying areas of need. And so glad to see it, and glad to see those improvements, and super happy to see that we are at 122%. That I remember the days when we were alternating routes, and there was just so many things after COVID that was like, oh gosh, how are we going to keep doing this? So, but it's working. Glad that things have smoothed out, and great work. All right, let's move ahead to a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Ms. Stewart, you are very busy
I'm on
tonight.
a roll
Yeah.
right here. All right, so I will bring forth motion 112, that the board adopt the resolution in support of the 25-26 Wayne Risa budget as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer Stewart, supported by Vice President Campbell Voitel. Do you want to share a little bit about the Wayne Risa budget, or Devin, would you like to
this
do
one
that?
right over to Devin?
All right, let's keep it going. So ISD's Wayne Risa has to have their budget voted on by the school districts within their region by June 1st. So that's why it's coming to you tonight. We vote on it, but at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot that we can adjust there. Even if we say no, it's they have to. It's a county-wide thing. A little bit about this budget, the two main budgets I want to talk about, and I talked about this at the cow again, high level, because it is countywide, but the general fund, both the general fund and the Act 18 or special education fund are in a pretty large deficit, and that's due to one-time expenditures. So on the general fund side, Wayne Reese is doing some capital projects with that general fund. And so they're doing a planned use of fund balance in that general fund for that. And so that's why you're going to see that fund balance come down in the general fund. In the special education fund, it's the one-time payments. So they're continuing on the one-time payments. They're going to continue it next year, 100%, and then the following year, 50%, and then the following year after that, they're gone. And the idea would be to spend down that fund balance and then get back to a balanced budget if possible. So that's kind of the highlights of the Wayne Reese budget. There's a lot there, but again, it's in front of you today because they need it voted on by June 1st.
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we spoke about it a lot at the committee of
Yeah.
the whole. So anybody have any other questions or? Okay. All right. This one does require a roll call vote.
Okay. Frazier,
Yes.
Mabry,
Yes.
Maurer,
Yes.
McIntyre,
Yes.
Campbell Voitel.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
and Meyer, I'm a yes.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
And back to me. All right, I will bring forth motion 113, that the board approve the resolution designating Northville Board of Education's election representative, delegate, and alternate, in addition to authorizing a vote case for the Wayne Risa board candidates listed below at the Wayne Risa board election on June 2nd, 2025, as presented.
Support.
We have a motion properly presented by Treasurer Stewart and supported by Secretary Meyer. I think it would be a vote cast.
I was wondering, I was like, a vote case? What is that? Okay, that
Okay,
makes
that
more
makes sense, right?
A vote
Okay.
cast. Thank you.
And then who do we have as the delegate and the alternate?
I think that was me as the delegate.
Okay.
I don't remember who, was
And
it
then Ms.
Lisa?
McIntyre, yes,
Okay.
as the yeah, I'd be happy to serve as the alternate.
Okay.
Okay. And then this also requires a roll call vote.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, the names? Oh, so sorry.
It's, so we would be voting for Barry and Jackson. There are two candidates for two spots, so it's a really hard decision, guys.
This
Yeah, I know,
Thank you for
exactly.
that. Yeah, thank you for that. All right,
Okay.
we ready for roll call?
Yes.
Okay.
Mabry,
Yes.
Maurer,
Yes.
McIntyre,
Yes.
Campbell Voitel.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Meyer, yes. Frazier,
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any added agenda items? Okay, thank you. This is our second opportunity for public comment. No cards? Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from board members?
I just wanted to thank the families of the Cook students who did express their concerns today regarding the changes in the calendar. I very much commend their advocacy work and their communication via public comments and email. And I think that we're very fortunate a district to have such an incredible staff at Cook and such incredible families who are engaged with their children's education. So I do want to thank the families who spoke out today.
All right, anything else?
Well, since we won't see each other next week, I just wanna, and I'll probably say it again when we do see each other. I'm looking back there at that sign, congratulations, class of 2025. And so I just want to say congratulations to all those parents, as I am one. It's a big deal. It's going to be a whirlwind weekend. We have the car parade on Saturday. And we have graduation on Sunday, and then we have Cook's graduation here on the 5th. So very excited, and congratulations to all those families. it's a good time to be reflective of all the wonderful opportunities that our students have been given in this district. And I know that myself and my family are very grateful.
It's a big week. It's very special.
Mhm.
It's a very special evening tonight here at Cook to see just these decades. I mean, half a century of work with special needs students
Yes.
is really powerful.
Yes.
Appreciate all of the comments too about advocating for continued funding and increased funding, and just thinking about how deserving each of these students are and their families are to have, students with the opportunity to learn and be well-rounded and have all the access to the best opportunities. That's what we can provide.
I think I'm also carrying with me a big dose of inspiration and respect, I think, for the leadership, the historic leadership and the strength of the central office leadership all the way back for 50 years that have brought these opportunities forward and, and had them bear fruit for all of the kids that have come through with all of their varied needs. And, we have kids with unique needs at all levels and all places and spaces in our district. And I am just acknowledging that we have our principles and our practices in the right zone when it comes to what we're all working for. We're pulling in the same direction. Pardon me using the rowing metaphor. Mrs. Stewart, who spent the weekend with our rowing team, which was remarkable. But anyway, I just think it's characteristic of 50 years of really strong work in this district. Proud of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's it then. Call the meeting adjourned at 7:12. That is
Wow.
not wrong. It's 2 hours early. 9:12.